So, there it is, go. Graph it, tell me the transformations to the parent. Open notes, open everything except your mouths. Huh. Jaden, it would stay a positive 1/4. For some reason, I didn't actually get a notification that you answered. Okay. Okay. Yeah, fine. Anyone still going? Or these end up pretty quick? There was only one question last night, so I'm assuming that things are going okay. Just a little bit of clarification. I said, doesn't have to be blood, sweat, and tears math. Just send something on her mind, pop in real quick in the morning or Spartan time. Okay, Ava's good about coming in here and just like Rapid fire, bam, 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 bam. These 6 questions. Okay, bye. But it works, right? You get your questions answered. Okay? You got a life to live outside of this classroom, outside of this school. Go live it. But there's nothing wrong with just taking a screenshot of what you're working on, send it, and saying, hey, is this the way it's supposed to be? Nothing wrong with popping in for 5 minutes in the morning and saying, this one doesn't make sense. Help. Okay? All right. Round 1. If I'm going to graph, first we'll make that bigger. Then we'll poke this, then we'll save that. Okay. The transformations are going to help me graph it, so I'll actually say those first. Step 1. Go left to right. There's a vertical reflection or reflection in the x-axis. And if you say it first, you don't have to worry about, do I go up and then reflect, or do I reflect and then go up, because those aren't commutative with each other. Just say it first and get it out of the way. Then, horizontal translation, left 4, bass-ackwards land. Okay. Kind of a gotcha moment. 3 halves out front in the A spot. How do I know it's a stretch? It's a fraction. Bigger than 1. Okay. It's not just whether it's a fraction or not. The fact that it's a value whose absolute value is greater than 1 tells me that's a vertical stretch by 3 halves. And then, so that means my vertex that is normally right here, I'm going to reorient Frank real quick because he's a little cross-eyed right now. Hey. I was talking with pre-calc last hour again. You've had another week or so with these new computers. Is everyone else's opinion the same as mine, that they're slower than molasses?
Yes, and they die so fast. Yeah.
I think they might have cheaped out on the bid this time. Now, unfortunately, that means I think we're stuck with them for 2 years. They were. Like, I got an old one here for Game Club to watch YouTube videos. I think I'm actually going to swap, just so I can make my streaming software run. So, that's normally where the vertex is. This says I'm going to translate it to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to translate it down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a vertical reflection to it, and the stretch is 3 halves, which also means I just got a slope of -3/2 on the right side. So down 3, right 2, down 3, right 2, down 3, right 2, or down 1.5/1, I guess, because I kind of ran out of room. Okay, that's all there is to it. You had 4 transformations and the correct graph. 5 things, 5 points. Now, I do want to say, though, if you accidentally said right 4, well, naturally your graph is going to be wrong, right? Wrong, right? Wrong, correct? Even that don't work. It'd be bad. And if it bad, It's because you specifically screwed up this one thing. That's not 2 points off. That's 1 off because you did this part incorrect and then made your graph correctly based on incorrect information. Now, if you wrote this was right 4, your graph is right 4, but then you also did a slope of negative 2/3 instead of 3/2. Okay, now that's 2 points off because you did your graph wrong. In addition to goofed up the other thing. So domino effect does not nuke your score. Same goes on the quizzes. Okay? So I was not asked more than a handful of things. They were more about just watching the parentheses and is it really a B or an A kind of thing. Speak now or forever hold your pieces. Just wash your hands afterwards. Anything? Anything at all? There it is. Hold on. You get over here. You get over here. Womp. I feel like I need to keep apologizing as we're doing lessons with this trash computer. Like someone, apologizing to the rest of the team. It's not me, dude. It's just lagging. Come on, Frank. It should not take a full 2 minutes just to open a book. Oh no, those are fine on any other computer. If I do that at home on my 8-year-old dinosaur laptop, it's got a better processor. It just click, 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 yay, book. We have entire time to do a friggin' conversation about how much this thing sucks. Please refresh it. Oh my. This is such a laggy POS that I can't even get to the book. Yeah, we are definitely gonna swap those computers back. All right, just tell me what 24 looked like. Ryland's over here like Aslan. I know the ancient magic.
Y equals 3/2 absolute value x minus 6.
What about it?
But it's so fun to see like dog graph to identify the vertex axis.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right.
Forgot to transformation. Beautiful.
Okay. Don't break anything. Okay. I think we got to get some housekeeping items out of the way. A, this whole week has been dumpster fire. B, not just here, at home. Whole family sick. Been sick all week. Everyone got tested, confirmed RSV instead of COVID. We're all vaccinated anyway, except the little squirts. RSV, if anyone knows what it is, normally little kids get it, like toddlers, babies. It's weird for it to cross over into adults, much less with severe severity. So right now, the only reason that I don't have it is probably lack of exposure because I'm at school all the time. The chances that I end up getting it and I got to be gone next week is a thing. If it is, you got to deal with lesson videos. Sorry. I'm not a fan of them. You know, shut down Spring 20 didn't work for just about anyone for a reason. But if I'm out, that's what you got to deal with. Okay? If that happens, everything runs through the website, Remind, Plan Book, YouTube, it's all there. My substitute instructions literally say you don't need to do anything other than make sure they don't burn things. Let them use their phones and their computers. They know what to do. I am talking to them right now as you're reading this. Okay? So they might not even have you in here. They might throw you out in the commons. They did that a couple times last year because all of my stuff is online. So if that happens, that's where we're at. 3, because it's been a dumpster fire, I have not gotten to the grading like I should. Having 2 quizzes out and not graded is not my style. I don't like it. I've got like halfway through your quiz number 1. I've got all the daily stuff done, but it's not in campus yet. Be patient. I'll get to it when I get to it. But right now, it's just trash. I'm like getting day to day, barely. Okay? Just being upfront with you. Like, don't be asking me, is this in? When's that going to be put in? Like, believe me, I want to get to it if the screaming, snot dripping child lets me. Okay? So, those things out of the way. Next week, just because we got to say it, Homecoming Madness. A, if you're doing any of the dress up stuff, just don't do anything really stupid. Okay? I don't want to see Rylan over there in like Spanx or something. Okay? Like, have fun with it. Be tasteful. 2, there is a advisory day on Wednesday. This is one that I would say, instead of everyone groaning and saying, I'm just going to skip, take that one seriously. We have a representative from NAMI here. It's a National Organization for Mental Health. And like, they're the good ones. They're the ones who actually know what the crap they're talking about. And September is Suicide Awareness Month. Suicides have increased dramatically in the last year and a half nationwide among all demographics. Might not be a bad one to actually go to and, stop trying to act cool for 45 minutes. And you're not going to impress people by saying, this is lame, when you're talking about people offing themselves. So maybe actually go to that one and listen and try to learn something. Okay? And then Friday next week is an early release Maroon Day. So I know that everything's been kind of weird and maybe some of you don't remember how that works. Early release Maroon Days, it's 1, 2, 3 lunch Spartan time. If you do not have to be in Spartan time normally, you don't have the I got to be here for 20 minutes thing like normally to 2:05. It's just you don't have to be there if you are not on Spartan time list. So on that Friday, it will be 1, 2, 3, 11:24. You may leave if you are not on Spartan time list. If you are, then you have to be there anyway. If I remember right, all the homecoming stuff starts at 1 so that everyone who wants to can participate, including those who are locked down. If that's not your jam, from 11:30 to 4:30, my room is going to have a 5-hour nerdathon. I ain't going down there. That's too loud and just that's sensory hell for me. So I ain't going to be down there. I'm going to be down here playing games with nerds. So if y'all want to come down here during that time, you can. Otherwise, I'm guessing most of you are just going to go away. Okay? So there's a bunch of stuff. Last section, 2.8. Let's get this out of the way, and I don't care how much time we have left at the end. I am not going any further than this. I am not putting out another packet and trying to start chapter 3. We're just going to finish this and be done. Because my tolerance for anything right now is like, right there. So, y'all know how to graph lines. You know how to graph absolute value now. What happens when I go and throw an inequality on there? Just shade it, right? Two things. A, I have to shade. B, I have to pay attention to whether it's a dotted line or solid. You remember the difference. How?
Dotted line is like greater than or equal to.
Those. Okay? If I have greater than or less than. Remember that these made open circles when we were on number line? So think of the dotted line as just, it's a bunch of open circles in a line. So to show a bunch of open circles in a line, they just say dotted line. Again, less ink here, less ink there. If it is or equal to, more ink here, more ink there. Now it's a solid line. Okay? There are ways to determine which direction you're going to shade. Option 1, plug 0, 0 in for your x and y. And then ask yourself, is it true or false? Okay? If I plug in 0, 0 and it gives me a true statement, then that means 0, 0 is a solution. Like this one, whatever this equation is, if I plug 0, 0 in and it works, then that means everything on that side of the line works. Shade that side. But if I plug in 0, 0 and it does not work, that means it's not a solution. So nothing on that side is a solution. Shade the other side. Okay? So that's one way. The other is if I ever have y is greater than, and then I have some equation over here, or some expression. You know what? I'll just say y is greater than stuff. If I say y is greater than stuff, is that up or down? The y's are greater when you go up, right? That's what this is. Go to where it hits the y-axis and it's shaded up from there. Oh, okay, I shade that side. If I ever have y is less than or equal to some expression, I go to where it hits the y-axis and I shade below that. Okay, I'll shade the bottom. Okay, but that only works if it's y isolated from the rest. This works with anything. Plug it in and check. This works specifically if I have y inequality expression. Okay, so there's the short version. Let's go ahead and practice. See if we remember how this works. Go. Graph the lines. Is it solid or dotted? Which way do I shade? This is all the way back to algebra half. It's just been a while. Okay, we're just going to get some quick practice in with this. The only thing that's really new today is doing it with absolute values. Okay, both of them start at -1. Slope is up 3 over 1. Part A, solid or dotted? Less ink here, less ink there. Make sure you run it all the way off the edge of the graph. We're doing an entire plane here. And then I have a choice. I can either plug 0, 0 in there. 0 is greater than -1. Is that true?
Yes.
Is being flat broke better than owing someone $1?
Yes.
Yeah. So if 0 is a solution, it's on this side of the line. That's just, I got fat marker up here. That means everything on that side is also a solution. So it's going to be okay. Next one. Same idea, but solid or dotted? Solid. Now it's solid or equal to. Now I can choose to put in 0, 0. 0 is less than or equal to -1. Is that true?
No,
Being flat broke is worse than owing people money.
Yeah, we're good.
No.
We're good.
Although the way our very capitalist consumer society runs, you'd think that. How many people have the four-wheeler and the camper and the boat and the 5 cars and go on the trip to Costa Rica, but your credit card debt is disgusting? Okay? America! Okay? So I can say 0 is not a solution, so if 0 is not a solution, nowhere over there is a solution, shade the other side. Or just read what it says. Y is less than or equal to the line. So go less than the line. Okay? When you shade them, try to make them at least somewhat decent. Who in here is the kid that just like murders the paper? It looks like... Okay. Someone else should be able to pick up your paper and understand what's going on.
What is that?
Okay. You good? Like, I remember how to do lines? Do you remember how to do it when they're not in slope-intercept form? 14, 16 at the bottom. Get them. Means you might have to rearrange things. Maybe you have to graph by intercepts. Don't do the ones at the top. Do 14 and, what is it, 16? Do 14, 16. Uh-huh. Hold up.
Oh, we have to like switch around the side.
Which is why we're practicing those ones instead of the ones above them. Oh yeah, all those inequality rules, they still matter. Remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative, you got to flop your inequality.
First you get y at the side,
So how's your, what you did, why is it equal to 3 half x minus 4?
that's what you did. Y is greater than half x plus 9.
Okay,
Oh,
16's nice and easy, right? Subtract 5, divide everything by -1, flop the inequality. Okay, I'm starting with 16 first for a reason. Okay, I rearranged it in slope-intercept form because what I'm going to do with 14 doesn't really work with this since it's not in standard form. It's not in standard form, it's not in slope-intercept form, it's just kind of there. So I'm going to rearrange it to make it look familiar. Y-intercept of 5, slope is down 1, right 1. Solid or dotted line? Okay, more ink here means more ink there. And now that I have rearranged it, so it's y is less than the line, I don't really have to do much thinking. Y is less than the line. So now shade everything less than that line. Now, 14. I want to do that one second because does anyone remember, we just went through it not too long ago, graphing by intercepts.
yes.
If I put a 0 in for y, I've got 3x less than or equal to 9. Divide by 3 means I get an x-intercept of 3. If I put a 0 in for x, I've got -2y is 9. Divide by -2. Get a y-intercept of -9/2 or -4.5. Nice and easy. I even get a little slope out of it. It is a ratio or comparison. To go from one point to the other, you go up 4.5, right 3. Do it again. Up 4.5, right 3. Up 4.5, right 3. Down 4.5, left 3. Okay? So I don't have to rearrange it If I know how to graph it a different way, like in this case, graph by intercepts. Remember, you just like cover up the X or the Y with your finger and then divide? Okay. Solid or dotted? And I didn't rearrange mine, so real quick, I'm going to plug 0, 0 in there, which is really easy in standard form. 0 less than or equal to 9. Is that a true statement?
No.
Is 0 less than or equal to 9? Yeah, it's less than it. So this is an answer. If 0, 0 is an answer, everything on that side is an answer, I will shade. Okay? Or you could have rearranged it. Subtract 3x. Divide everything by -2. Remember to switch your inequality. You still got a y-intercept at -1/2 or -9/2. You still have a slope of up 3/2. I mean, that still exists. You would just have to remember when you divide by the -2 to flop your inequality. Whenever I multiply or divide by a negative, I flop my inequality. Instead of grumbling, say it out loud and ask the question. My original points were doing the intercepts, and then I continued that for my slope. But I should be able to follow this, right, and start down here at -9/2. I should still be able to follow that slope from here up 1, 2, 3/2. Up 1, 2, 3/2. Okay? So either way works. What? I really hate this thing. All right, using linear inequality, the map shows number of tickets needed. Smaller, large rides at the fair. You do not want to spend more than $15 on tickets. Wow, is this an old publishing book? You could hardly get on one ride for $15 these days. How many smaller, large rides can you ride? I want you all to go all the way back to 2.4 in your notes. There was a page where we had slope intercept, point slope, standard forms. And on each of them, I had you write down the ways that they show up in word problems. I want you to get used to this using your resources. There was a little chart where we talked about slope intercept, point slope, and standard form and how they show up in word problems. Everyone find it? So like next to slope intercept, it says y equals rate x plus start. Okay. So you're looking for, in this problem, what information did they give me? I'll erase this later, but rate x plus start. Did they have y minus amount is or okay. It's really horrible handwriting. I was going fast. Deal with it. I got to look back at this and determine which bit of information did they give me. Did they ever give me a starting amount? You start with this and then it goes so much per day or so much per ride. Did they say it's so much per ride. When I did 5 rides, it cost this much? Or did they give me a total with 2 different rates? Okay? This is, y'all, this is like holy grail of word problems in linear equations. This is how they present the problems to us. So, I know it's going to be in standard form. What was the total? 15 bucks. Okay, I suppose we should say dollars, right? Oh wait, that was algebra half. So I had a moment last week where I was doing an example and saying so-and-so in the front row was going to borrow $5 from me. And I missed entire letters and blurred those two together and said that he would borrow 5 fornications from me instead to a room full of 28 freshmen. Giggles ensued. But I corrected myself by saying I have none of those left to give. So, got to be careful with it. Dollars, $15. But here's the thing. We're in the inequality section, not equations. You do not want to spend more than $15. Less than or equal to. Because I can spend 15 bucks, but I don't want to go over that. Less than or equal to 15. Okay, now I have 2 variables, a x and a y. I should probably define what I want them to be. What are the 2 different kinds of things we're talking about in this problem? Large rides and small rides. So maybe we'll say x is my small rides and y is my large rides. And I will label it so I know what's what when I go to make my graph. Okay, how much does a small ride, well, what do I even do with the rate? Here's another thing that you can help. What is this in? So if the equation is about money, the other stuff needs to be about money. Small rides are how much money? Okay, and how did we get that? 3 tickets, but the tickets are 25 cents each. Okay, we're going to get there. Okay, plus. No. Jaden got a really good idea here. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to do 2 different equations. And then 1.25y. Okay, rate x plus rate y is total. Now, we said we didn't want to spend more than $15. Jaden's saying, could we come over to that ticket booth right away at the beginning, cash in $15 for how many tickets? Could I do that and then say 3x plus 5y? Okay. Both are equally correct. Both will end up with the same equation. They're going to have the same x-intercepts. They're going to have the same y-intercepts, the same slope. Because if I take this, isn't this 3/4 x plus 5/4 y is less than or equal to 15? And what happens when I multiply the whole long thing by 4? Same thing, okay? So, yes, you very much can So maybe it's not enough, you beat me to the punchline, it's not enough to just say x is small, y is large. X is what? Is it the cost of the small ride? Is it the number of small rides I go on? What? Oh, here was your number of tickets that you used. 3 tickets every time you ride the small rides. Okay. So I'm going to change that up and instead say X is number of small rides. Y is number of small rides, or large rides, sorry. So, either way, I can graph this by intercepts. Put a 0 in for Y. X-intercept, whether I do 15 divided by 0.75 or 60 divided by 3 is 20. Put a 0 in for X. Whether I do 15 divided by $1.25 or 60 divided by 5, either way I'm going to get 12. Okay, so I need the scale of my graph to fit this. I need my x-intercept to be at least out to 20, so I need to fit at least 20 on my graph. How do I change this? Right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 boxes. Go by twos, okay? Don't overthink it. Just go by twos. Do I need to go by the same scale for x and y? Normally I don't have to, but in this case, am I going to fit 12 in 10 boxes? No. So I should go by 2 on both axes. Remember, you can go by like 5s on the x and then by 2s on the y's. Like, you can do that. But I will now say an x-intercept of 20, so way out there, and a y-intercept of 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, which is down 6 boxes, right 10 boxes. I could go down 3, right 5, if I needed more points to make a slope. Or up 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, left 5 to make my full slope. Solid or dotted line? Now, ostensibly we have this. This would be the graph of my function. And then I'm going to tell you that this graph is only of the function itself. It is not the graph of all reasonable answers. Why does this graph only work for the function, but not the problem? Riddle me this, Batman. How are you going to ride -6 small rides and +2 large rides? Like, you can't do that, right? So that starts to get into, do you remember systems? Come on, you, Frank. In systems, you didn't just have the one inequality, you had multiple. So I also need to say x is greater than or equal to 0, y is greater than or equal to 0, because I cannot ride a negative amount of either type of ride. X equals 0. And everything to the right of that, because it's greater than. Don't do this to your paper, please. And blue. Y is greater than or equal to 0. Do you remember doing this in algebra half? Does it look like a giant puke-tastic color mess? This is why we don't do that. Do you remember who had a teacher show you like the crosshatch method? The crosshatch would be like, I make a bunch of lines going this way, and then I make a bunch of lines going this way, and then I make a bunch of lines going this way, and I look for where's the waffle? Right in here, right? It's still a giant mess. So this is what I have always told my kids to do. Frank?
Definitely just died. Frank, wake up. He's dead.
Frank's no doubt.
Frank?
He's taking a nap.
Oh,
Okay. So we said by 2, by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Up 3, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Here's the way that I always told my kids to do it in other classes. But how do I know what the right area is without, like, right now I only got 3 of them. What happens when I have 4, 5, 6 of these on the same graph? I always did mine with little bitty arrows, meaning y is greater than this line. X is greater than this line. And this one, if I put 0, 0 in there, 0 is less than or equal to 60, so that's true. I shade towards the 0. Now, if I do that with just little bitty arrows all over the place, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which region are all of my arrows pointing to? Okay. Personally, I feel that's a lot more organized. There's a lot less trash on my graph. So if you want to follow that method for multiple graphs, now it is naturally, I'm going to like this method because it's my method. You do what works for you, but you got to make sure that anyone else can look at your paper and accurately tell what the crap you're talking about. So if it looks like someone murdered a like graphite pencil on your paper, then you probably don't want to do that method. Okay. So there's a difference between I can graph the function versus I can graph the feasible, reasonable region. Who are we going to pick on?
Ghostbusters.
Brooke is easy to pick on.
And when you volunteer yourself. Caden.
He did it first.
You said it, Haas. Okay. So, Caden,
Yes.
how are you going to do this?
You've been voluntold.
It's a stud. A stopper.
He follows little girls around. That's
Let's go.
No. He's got very particular tastes.
yeah. Under the age of 12.
He follows.
Huh?
That's awkward.
3 times.
Oh, you
No. I don't know about that one. I don't have foot. Why did I have to go?
Because you volunteered someone else, bud.
This is a big story.
So long.
No more than this.
Go!
Definitely take pictures.
Never volunteer someone else.
I learned the hard way. Even though you said it first, and I said it second.
Well, let that be a note to you, Stalker Caden. There's a difference between thinking it and doing it.
He said it too, though. He didn't just think it. What do you mean?
Well, he was just talking amongst his peer group about a thing. You actually followed through and said it out loud.
I said it top 3.
It's not real. Yeah.
I have no idea.
What's your total? What's the rate for each? Hi. If you label what your X and Y are. What is X? What is Y? What type of person is each?
Feet showing? No feet showing.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure you say that next to the problem.
Why not?
Because it doesn't say
Total?
27 people.
so does
It doesn't say how many people does he stalk in a year.
word problem.
Okay, so
It says if you can go no more grasp the region of
Okay, so that means it has to.
What would the Y be? It'd just be Y. It'd be multiple.
You do.
Like,
Okay. I hear some people arguing about this part, so there.
No, that's the total is 27. What? Not if.
So in a month, that's what this is about. This is about number of people Caden is stalking in a month. I don't know. You look a little bit like Sam.
Sam. Oh, Sam Tobin? Why Sam Tobin?
He was stalking on Miss McCreary when she was my student teacher.
How'd she know? You're weird.
Because in class, he would ask things like, "Who was that guy you were with?"
Oh my.
Yes.
He was telling me about how.
Hey, don't you have that one blue Jeep with that little that rack thing on the top? I saw you over at this place.
Why would he? He's not a very good stalker. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it got weird, like to the point that she turned around in the middle of class and mouthed the "what the" to me because she didn't know how to handle the kid who knew where she shopped when she went to Terry Peak, who the guy was that she was dating, what her car looked like. It got weird. So, come on now. I've seen some of you got the right inequality already. Now graph it.
Is this right?
It's in standard form. No, 3 times as many. What's
Wait. Okay. But would that be right?
so 3 and 1? Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Do I have the right?
Swap this. No more than. So less than or equal to.
What happened to last?
And rearrange so you can do the graph your way. I like it.
I don't think it's right.
No, you're right.
I am?
Yeah.
Can I make y like 1 and then use this one 3? Or no?
So you
Like,
can't
is
change
this
it
the
to point
max amount of
like that?
people's feet?
No.
Per, oh,
So x-intercept of 27,
yeah.
a y-intercept of 9. So I need my y's to go to at least 9. I need my x's to go to at least 27. So I can mark those 2 points. Yeah. Like once you write the equation or the inequality, so long as it's correct, rearrange it to however you're comfortable graphing it.
What are you staring at?
Are your feet showing?
No, he's gonna go on for like. This isn't gonna go away for
Okay. Now, I saw some people instead say x plus 3y less than or equal to 27. That's still right, isn't it? If you label it that way. This is why we have to label our variables. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come over here and say my x-intercept needs to go out to at least 9. My y-intercept needs to go to 27. Solid line. And stick a 0, 0 in there. Is 0 less than or equal to 27? Yeah? So I will shade down from there. Okay. I said to graph the feasible region. So this may be the function right now, but next to this, if you could please also put in x is greater than or equal to 0, y is greater than or equal to 0, because you can't stock negative number of people. I mean, I suppose that would be like the rehab afterwards where you have to go apologize or something.
That is sus.
Okay. You know you just screenshot the video too, right? So. Okay, I just wanted to see if you can do a word problem. Y'all have those 3 word problem translation bits, right? Slope intercept, y equals rate x plus start. Standard form, rate 1, x, rate 2, y equals total. Okay, point slope. I want to make sure that you have those because you will have word problems you have to turn into an inequality. All right, moving on. First of all, that does not look like our absolute value graphs from yesterday. So I might have to rearrange stuff. Stage 1. I'm going to subtract 1. Now what? Now what? Okay, I didn't expect that to happen. I'm sorry. It like ricocheted, bounced, and then came up and got him in the ear. Okay, don't. Note to self: don't throw the bouncy one. It still don't look right. Not yet. What do I still have to do? And when I divide by a negative, flip the inequality around. Okay, be careful. You divide this by a negative. Flips. Divide this by a negative, most kids will get correct. When I divide an absolute value by anything, don't mess with what's inside there. Put a negative in front of it. Okay? Because we don't really divide, we multiply by reciprocal. I multiplied the entire absolute value by a -1, so just shove a -1 next to the absolute value. That goes for anything else. Do not, if you need to put this note to yourself so you don't screw this up, do not distribute into absolute value land. Just leave it on the outside in the A position. Because if we know the A position, we can do all of our transformation stuff. Now that I have this, I know that I'm headed left or right. Left 2, up 1. So left 2, up 1 is my vertex. Has a vertical reflection. A slope on the right side of what? Remember my vertex was always h, k, and my slope on the right side was always a times b. So right now, -1 times 1, -1. So slope is down 1 over 1. Careful. Don't just make it into a line. What type of function is this? Absolute value. Absolute value looks like a V. So what do I do with all the points I just made? Mirror them on the other side of your axis of symmetry. Come over here instead. But now I have to ask the question, solid or dotted V, and where do I shade? Okay, so it's dotted, we know that much. This is where having y by itself on one side of the inequality comes in real handy. This says y is greater than the v. So it's on the outside because I go to the v and I shade outside greater than the v. So everything out here. But color it better than that. Okay. Keep up, Frank. Ancient piece archaic sharks. Okay, do it again. Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Where'd you get mine?
Oh, I just hold on.
Okay, sounds like we got it. Don't. I go right 1, up 4. Slope on the right-hand side is a positive 2. So up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. It's a V, so I mirror that across an axis symmetry from the vertex up to left 1, up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. Solid or dotted. More ink here, more ink there. Just like swing and a miss on that last point. And this says y is greater than or equal to the v. So okay, I'm saying the v. It's y is greater than or equal to the absolute value. Okay. So the absolute value graph is here. Y is going to be greater than here. Okay. Talk to me, Goose. How you feeling? Good. Then, one last thing. Here was a bunch of inequalities, graph them. Now, here's a graph of an inequality. Tell me what it is. So we're going to just do the opposite of it, flip it around and say, well, it's an absolute value graph. So I know that I'm going to have y and inequality. You know what? I'm going to have this, a, b, x minus h. That's its form. I just got to put the right things in the right spot. So I'll start with, did I shade above or below the absolute value? Above. So, greater than. Was it a solid or dotted line? So, not equal to, so no line here. I don't need to use b at all if I'm making the inequality. I get to just put in the a spot whatever my slope is on the right side of the graph. Careful. It goes up 1 and over 1, even though they're like naming every second box on there, it is still a slope of 1, so it is up 1 over 1. So a is 1. I don't actually have to write that. Okay. X, I went to the right 3, so minus 3 or plus 3. Okay, pass backwards land. And down 2. There you go. But it's easy because now we know transformations. And when I said transformations are going to be used throughout the entire class, and they're going to become as ubiquitous as y equals mx plus b. Okay. That's why I was willing to take an extra day on that. Okay, your turn. What's that graph as an inequality?
Why isn't it shaded on?
Why isn't shaded what?
Like, this one wasn't shaded on the top. So Lynn wants you to make some more.
Oh,
Just because of.
I print it and it comes out too dark, so when I make all the copies, I do the light scale, and sometimes it just gets rid of shading like that. Or if I was attempting to be hip with the kids, I would say I didn't want to throw shade at you. That's a horrible dad joke. Don't laugh at that. I don't want your pity laugh.
X.
Did I shade above or below? So greater than. Solid or dotted line? Dotted means less ink here, less ink there. The slope on the right-hand side of this thing. Careful, they are going by 2's. So if I'm going here to here, that's whether I'm saying it went down 3, 4 over 4, or down 1 over 1, or down 2 over 2, they're all going to reduce to a negative 1. My vertex was moved 4 to the left, so plus 4, backwards land, and up 3, there should be. just talk about the reasoning part. You can tell from looking at this inequality to shade above the boundary line. Can you use the same for this? So if I look at this one, I can say I have to shade above the line. Can I still use that here when it's not in slope-intercept form? When I turn it into slope-intercept form, I'm going to end up flipping the inequality. That doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, but it depends on the signs. Okay? I'm going to throw the ball again. I was just worried that you weren't all right, dude. I was going to tell you, like, hey, if you got to go, just go. Because I'm hearing, like, all these Taco Bell after party noises over there. So, show me thumbs. How we feel?
Great.
Good way to end the week. Okay. Assignments already online. When you come on Monday, ooh, just in case my world implodes, let's make sure everyone gets the Chapter 3 packet. Just in case. Just in case. Let's get everyone that right now. Hey, sometimes I think of things. Yo.
So since I was gone on Monday, that's when we turned in the homework. You got homework stuff.
Yeah.
You want to look at mine then? Because I had it all done. I just wasn't going to turn it in.
Yeah, I'll look at it right now. You got your notes, daily quizzes, assignments.
Which one did we start on?
Can you give us the notes?
What?
Can you give us the notes? What?
Mine's up on the.
Yeah, I'll go through them at lunch.
So which homework did we start on?
Like, I will do it right now. Just give me your stuff.
Both these packets?
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.